Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads. We continue with Meet Felicity. Chapter 4, Ben's Promise. The last sliver of moonlight made a slivery path across the floor of Felicity's room. As soundlessly in a dream, Felicity edged out of bed. She slipped her petticoats over her shift, pulled down her stockings and garters, and tiptoed to the door. Downstairs she crept, skipping the step that creaked. She was shaking with nervousness. It was better when she was outside. Felicity put on her shoes. Then she gathered her petticoats in her hand and ran fast through the garden, through the dark streets, past the sleeping houses. On she ran to the edge of town, where the trees grew close to the road, and she was just another ghostly shadow. By the time Felicity reached the pasture, she was out of breath. She stood on the lowest rung of the fence and searched the darkness for Penny. The horse was tied to a stake by a thick rope. Penny looked up and tossed her head. Felicity did not dare speak aloud. "I'm here. It's me," she whispered to Penny. "You don't have to trust me yet, but you will. I know you will." Penny did not move. Felicity left a small apple near the stake. "Goodbye," she whispered, and then she ran home. The sky was just getting to grow light around the edges. When Felicity came to breakfast, her mother looked at her. "Felicity," she said, "your petticoats are wet and muddy. Most likely your stockings are wet too, all the way up to your garters. What on earth have you been doing?" Felicity looked down at her muddy hem. I was just in the garden." Mrs. Merriman smiled. "Digging around the pumpkins you planted," she said. "My impatient one. They'll not go faster just to please you. Now sit down and eat your breakfast." "I need breeches," thought Felicity. "Then I can run freely. Then it won't matter if I get wet and muddy. But how can I get them?" She found the answer in her mending pile. It was a pair of Ben's breeches made of thin black cotton. Felicity knew Ben didn't wear those breeches very often, just to church sometimes. He wouldn't miss them if she borrowed them for a while. The next morning before dawn, Felicity sneaked out of the house again. This time she stopped by the table. She had hidden Ben's breeches there under the old bucket. She put the breeches on over her shift and tied them around her waist with a rope. Ben was skinny but tall, so the breeches went down to Felicity's ankles. As she runs through the silent streets toward the tannery, her legs felt so free. For once she could run as fast as she wanted without petticoats to hold her back. Morning after morning, before anyone was awake, Felicity slipped out of the house to visit Penny. At first, Felicity stayed outside the pasture, but for a few days she sat on top of the rail of the fence. She sat near, but not too near, the stake to which Penny was tied. Felicity never spoke aloud. She knew that if she were rough or noisy, she would frighten the horse. Even though Felicity couldn't sit still in her stitchery, she could sit almost without moving at all when she was near Penny. She felt peaceful sitting on the rail fence in those misty mornings, watching the new horse. Sometimes Penny was calm. Sometimes she put her rope on her or raised her hand to sniff the wind. "She's thinking about running away," thought Felicity. "She's thinking about freedom." The first time Felicity climbed off the fence into the pasture, Penny tossed her head and danced about, but she did not whinny or shy away. Soon Felicity thought Penny expected her to come each morning, may even look forward to seeing her. Penny knew Felicity was kind and patient and would not hurt her. With all her heart, Felicity wished she had more time to spend with Penny so that horse would trust her completely. One morning after breakfast, Felicity was trying to hide her yawns as she pressed her stitches. She sat up straight when she heard her mother ask, "Ben, did you put your breeches in the mending pile as I told you to?" "Yes, ma'am," answered Ben. "I don't see them there," said Mrs. Merriman. "Where are they?" "I do not know, ma'am," said Ben. Well, look about you, lad, said Mrs. Merriman. Breeches don't just disappear. Yes, ma'am, said Ben. Felicity kept her head down and watched Ben out of the corner of her eye. He looked confused and a little embarrassed. He has no idea what happened to his breeches, thought Felicity. I wonder how he could feel if he knew. But no one knew Felicity's secret. No one knew about all the times she had with Penny, all those dreamlike mornings. Felicity's secret made her happy all day long while she was mending or practicing her writing or playing with Nan and William. Felicity thought about Penny. The beautiful horse was growing more and more friendly every day. Felicity always took an apple to Penny. One morning, after Felicity had been visiting with her for a few weeks, Felicity took the apple right from her hand. Felicity held her breath when she felt Penny's warm nose tickling her fingers. She stood still. She did not try to touch Penny. From that time on, Penny made a game of asking for the apple. She would nudge Felicity gently and nick her until Felicity held out the apple to her. On one drizzly morning, Penny nuzzled Felicity for the apple as usual. Felicity stepped back. What's wrong, Penny? She whispered. Just then Felicity heard dogs barking in the alley. Mr. Nye, he was coming out to the pasture. Felicity dropped to the ground, rolled under the fence, and hid in the tall, scraggly grass. Penny whinnied and pawed on the ground. Don't start with me, you useless horse, Mr. Nye snarled. He came into the pasture and stood by the fence near Felicity's hiding spot. Felicity dare not move. Her heart thumped as she watched Mr. Nye put a bucket of water on the riding ground in front of Penny. No oats till ye let me ride ye, he muttered to the horse. Starve to death for all I care. As Mr. Nye stood back, Felicity got up and ran home as fast as she could. But nothing, not even Mr. Nye, could keep Felicity away from Penny. The mornings grew more chill as September blew into October. Felicity shivered when she pulled herself out of bed these mornings, but the sky stayed dark longer, so she had more time with Penny. There was frost on the ground in the morning. Felicity untied Penny's rope from the stake and led her around the pasture for the first time. Penny followed behind Felicity, leaving the whole length of rope between them. But after a week or so, Penny followed with her nose right next to Felicity's shoulder. Sometimes Penny even pushed her playfully. At the end of their walks, Penny let Felicity stroke her neck and rub her nose. Aye, that's my girl, Felicity whispered into her ear. You know that I love you, don't you, Penny? Don't you, girl? You know I won't rush you. And one day, when all Felicity came, then the day came when all Felicity's patience was rewarded. One day, Penny was standing quietly next to the fence as if she were waiting for Felicity. Slowly, Felicity untied the rope from the stake. Slowly, she climbed onto Penny's back. At first, Penny trotted. Felicity sat up straight and held to her mane. As Penny's stiff trot eased into her soothed canter, Felicity leaned closer and closer to Penny's neck. Soon, they were flying across the pasture, moving as swift and as sure as the wind. Penny's hooves hardly seemed to touch the ground. Above them, the sky was pearly gray. The wind made Felicity's eyes water. She had moved that fast only in her dream. Every day, Penny did something new. The first time Penny jumped over a small pile of hay, Felicity was so surprised she fell off the horse's back. After that, they tried higher and higher, a heap of rocks, a tree stump, a stack of logs. Felicity never fell off again. She learned that Penny tensed her neck just before she jumped. There was a signal to Felicity to hold on tight. Penny was full of surprises. One morning, she carried Felicity across the pasture in a gallop, then leaped effortlessly over the broken down part of the fence. The morning they rode farther and farther than before. Felicity lost track of time as they cantered deeper and deeper into the woods with no fences to stop them. When they jumped back over the fence, back into the pasture, Felicity retied Penny's rope to the stake quickly. She knew it was late. The sky was turning pink and the mist was lifting out of the meadows. Felicity ran home. She slipped into the stable as usual and changed from the breeches to her petticoats quickly. She was just rolling up to the breeches to hide them under the bucket when she heard someone say, "You!" It was Ben. Felicity froze with the breeches in her hand. She said nothing. "What do you have there?" asked Ben in his coldest voice. He came forward. "What? You have my best Sunday breeches?" He took them out of Felicity's hands and looked at them. They're wet and covered with mud. He sniffed at them. Whoosh! They smell like a horse. He looked at Felicity. Felicity interrupted him. "I'm sorry, Ben. I was just borrowing them. I needed them." Ben sat down. "Felicity, tell me what you are doing." Felicity took a deep breath. "I'm visiting Penny, the horse at the tannery." "That horse?" said Ben. His eyes were wide. "Oh, she's so fine," Ben said. Felicity, "She's gentle and dear, and she's so fast." "What?" Ben exclaimed. "You mean you're riding her?" "Oh, yes," said Felicity. "It's a wonder, Ben. It's just like riding in the wind." Ben shook his head. "Felicity, I don't know whether you're the bravest girl or the most foolish girl I have ever known," he said. "I'd be afraid to ride that horse. She looks like she would throw any rider sky high." "She was afraid at first, but now she trusts me," said Felicity. "How long have you been going out there?" Ben asked. "Every day since the rain stopped," Felicity answered. "That's almost 1 month," Ben said. "You've been up before dawn, dressing in my best breeches and running out to see that horse for 1 month?" "Yes." Ben sat still. He stared at Felicity and said nothing. And then he said, "How long can you keep doing this? You can't keep doing it forever. Mr. Nye will surely see you someday. And Penny is his horse." "I heard Mr. Nye say that anyone could ride her, could have her," said Felicity. "I can ride her, so she will be mine." Ben sighed. "Felicity, you set your heart on things too much. I don't believe Mr. Nye or your father will let you keep that horse." He saw Felicity's stubborn frown, and then he grinned. "Then I never would have believed you could have ridden that horse either." "I'm going to get Penny away from Mr. Nye somehow," Felicity said. "I have to." "Aye," said Ben. "You best do it soon." "I can't hurry Penny," said Felicity. "I have to be patient with her." Ben nodded. "So then," said Felicity, "do you want your breeches back?" "Not smelling the way they do," laughed Ben. "No, you need them more than I do. You can keep them as long as you like. I'll keep your secret." "Thank you, Ben," said Felicity. She gave him a quick grin and hurried into breakfast. Sharing Felicity's secret seemed to change Ben. He wasn't so shy. Sometimes he whistled, and he even surprised everyone by joking once or twice at supper. And he was true to his word. That Sunday, Mrs. Merriman said, "Ben, have you still not found your good breeches? They were fine, expensive India cloth. 'Tis not like you to be so careless." "I beg your pardon, ma'am," said Ben. "I know where they are now." Felicity let her face going red. Was Ben going to tell? "I'd lent them to a friend," said Ben easily. "Indeed," said Mrs. Merriman. "May I ask why?" "My friend needs them more than I do," said Ben. "Well," sighed Mrs. Merriman, "dust off your old woolen breeches then. We needn't go to church looking like a band of ruffians." Felicity smiled at Ben. He had called her his friend. He truly was a friend to her. All that week, Felicity thought long and hard about what Ben said. She knew he was right. She knew she couldn't keep her secret much longer. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.